This is the PyInstaller tutorial for Kivy. You will learn how to use PyInstaller, what the spec file for PyInstaller does, and how to package an exe with or without a Kv file, as well as make a singular exe file or a folder with an executable inside of it. Let's get started. Poetry and PyEnv must be installed for this tutorial. Refer to installation page on your OS if you do not have these installed. This code is recommended but not required. So now the first step is to have a working Kivy app to package. So if we do python main, we'll have the basic hello world that I'm going to package for this tutorial right here. Now step 2 is install PyInstaller with Poetry. So now you need to add PyInstaller to your virtual environment. Type poetry add PyInstaller, and that will automatically add PyInstaller to your virtual environment. But here it says the current project's Python requirement is not compatible with some of the packages. PyInstaller requires a Python version less than 3.13, greater than 3.18. If we go to Poetry TOML, we can check that it wants less than 3.13, correct? And greater than 3.8. So what we can do is, because this up caret means 310 or greater, right? We can just say, okay, we're gonna go very specifically 310, and 310 will be greater than equal to 3.8 and less than or equal to 313, because this says greater than 310. So that also means that 3.14 is available, right? But 3.14 is bigger than 313. So we can just go say specifically 310. And poetry add PyInstaller. The current Python project 3.9 is not allowed by this project 310. Okay, if that's the case, then we say 3.10.9. That will add PyInstaller for us. Now it's step 3. Choose between one file or one directory. In PyInstaller, you have two choices for packaging: a one file, which makes a single executable, or a single directory with many DLLs and one exe file. This tutorial for Kivy will cover both options. First, enter your virtual environment in your terminal. Run this command and proceed to the next step to fix your spec file so that Kivy is packaged correctly. Inside your virtual environment, so this is python-m to run a module, PyInstaller. Do a one file, and then the name is going to be hello world, and then this is the Python executable. So if we copy this, right click, this will be fine, but for example, you could do hello world 2, that will be the name of the exe file. Right now, let's do hello world and then press enter. Okay, and then we'll let it run. Okay, so I'm back. Now it has built, and if you look at this, you will see that there's two folders. There's a build folder and a dist folder. You want to go to the distribution folder, and you will see hello world exe. Let's get lucky. Let's hope it runs. You see this? Okay, it's running. But sometimes you don't want this, right? So this left side is console equals true. This side is at your actual, Kivy app. So let's go here and say step 4a, fix the spec file that is created. There's two reasons why the compile is taking a long time. Number one is that it's taking the entire environment and packaging it. And I have around 4 projects here. Usually if it's just one project, it will be a lot faster. And the other reason why it's a bit slow is because this is in a virtual machine, in my main machine. And that makes PyInstaller a little bit slower. Now we will go to step 4a, which is to fix the spec file that's created. So if you go to hello world spec, you can see there's a lot of options, right? And one option is console equals true. So the console that we have had here on this left side, we can simply say console equals false, and this will never show up, and then you can just have your hello world app run. But the console is very good if you want to, for example, debug. Then you can use, print statements to debug in your app. So step 4a, fix the spec file that is created. After running the initial PyInstaller command, you'll find a spec file created in the directory you ran the code, usually the top level of the Kivy folder. If you run the executable in the dist folder that is created with python-m pyinstaller hello world.spec, your Kivy app will not run. That's because you need the window provider's SDL2 and glue packaged alongside your Kivy app. Why you need to modify the spec file, right? So if you don't add it, sometimes you get this error. So now, in order to add SDL2 and glue to PyInstaller, you need to add to the top of the spec file is line 2, under here, and then from Kivy depths, you add like this. So in the onefile instruction, scroll down after a-datas, so a.datas. Within the exe arguments, replace this with tree p and p like this. Here, and all this does is add SDL2 and glue, so your windows will render. We got lucky and it was able to render this time, but it's a very, very simple app. Usually you will get this error. And then it says these two changes will make sure your Kivy app will run after packaging. And then this is an example spec file just for you to see. Okay, step 4b. Add your Kivy file resources, hooks, and hidden imports. If your Kivy app uses external resources like Kivy file and images, you'll need to add their location to the spec file so they can be packaged along with the exe. To do this, you insert your file or folder location into the datas line. This needs to be in the form of location on your PC, location in the packaged app. So because this Hello World application doesn't use a Kivy file, I'm going to copy it and have one that does have a Kivy file. Okay, and just as a very quick explanation on how this works, by name convention, Kivy looks for a Kivy file with the same name as your app class in lowercase, minus app, if it ends with app. So my app looks for my.kv. If this file defines a root widget, it will be attached to the app's root attribute and be used as the base of the application widget tree. So very simply, I do from Kivy app import app, class hello world kv app, and then import from the app class. And because your class name is hello world hwkv app, it will look for an hwkv.kv folder or the kv file. And then again, okay, if name equals main, all that means is you should run this code if you're the main Python file being called. Do not run this code if you are being called as a module. Don't worry about it. It's just good practice. Now this means this is to make the Kivy window always on top. Import window always on top true, and now your hello world kv app run, and it will run. And then in the hello world kv, you just have one button that says hello world. Then you do Python hello world kv and it will run, right? Now we're going to package this just to show this option. And again, I will also do, because I did the one file, now I'm going to do one directory, right? So I'm going to copy this and then paste, and it's Python -m to run this module, PyInstaller. The name is hello world, and you will notice that there's no option called one file because we're not doing a one file, we're doing a run directory. And then I will fix the spec file, and then I will include the hello world kv. And then here I will just run Python -m PyInstaller name with no one file, so it'll be a one directory. And then I will fix the spec file that is created, and its name will be hello world kv. And then it's the Kivy file, which is kv.py. And then after that, I'll fix the spec file. Okay, I'm back. Now let's go to this folder and look at this hello world kv example. Now I see I haven't actually loaded the kv, and I have not added the kv file, so it did not get packaged. And because of that, the app runs without any widget, so it's just a black screen. Now we have to fix this, right? So we need to add the kv file. We're gonna go to the spec file. So for here, it's hello world kv spec, and then we need to add, okay, first we need to add from Kivy depths import SDL2 and glue, and then because I'm in one folder, we go here, and it says after a.datas, within the collect line, we're gonna replace this with like this. Okay, and then here you can see the sample spec file. After a.datas, you just add this line, then you Control S to save. Now we have to add the kv file, otherwise it will run again and then it will be a blank app with no widget. So we're here. If your Kivy app uses external resources like Kivy files and images, you need to add their location to the spec file, okay? To do this, insert your file or folder location into the datas line. So let's find datas, like this. It needs to be in the form location on your PC and location in the packaged app. So Control V, like this. Then the location on my PC. So from this current working directory, where is my KV file? If I type directory, it's right here. So I don't have to do anything special, but let's say if I went one up, right? Then directory, oh, it's not here anymore, right? Where would I have to go? Would have to go to, okay, it's not listing it, but if I were there, I would be in Kivy example up here. I would need to go to 2024 and then Kivy spec. But because I'm already in, so from, if this is my current working directory, the location on my PC would be 2024 626, like this, because this is like an escape character for Python. And then it would be hwkv.kv. Okay, so actually the escape character is the slash in the other direction, but this will just convert all the way down to this, right? But because we're not in the 2024 626, we're gonna go to cd back, and then here type directory, it's here, right? So it's going to be kwkv or hwkv, like this. Then location in the packaged app. So I just wanted it to be in the default location, and then in the notes it says, okay, it says here test kv and dot. Means that the test kv file will be copied to the top level of the packaged Kivy app. So that's what I want, top level of the packaged Kivy app. Similarly, example text will also be available in the top level app as well. On the other hand, fonts and the fonts means that the folder fonts and everything in it will go to the fonts folder in the packaged app. Similarly, the resources folder and everything inside will go to the resources folder in the packaged app. Sometimes you need to add hidden imports and hooks for your app. It is unique for each dependency and requires searching online. You can use how to add X dependency using PyInstaller as a starter. Control S, I've added this hello world kv to the top file. And then just for another example, let's add this file also to something called, let's say the kv folder, and then you will see it in the packaged app. Build a working Kivy app using the PyInstaller spec file. Now that the spec file is fixed and contains all the required files and dependencies, use the command to create your exe file or folder. Python-m PyInstaller hello world spec --clean. Now here's the thing. Let's say you run the old command, right? Which is Python-m PyInstaller name hello world kivy.py. Press enter, it will say, okay, the output directory and all its contents will be removed. Continue? Yes. So look at what happened. It reset the spec file. What this command says is make a spec file and then potentially build your app. But because we modified the spec file, we need to actually use the spec file. So I'm going to Control Z to undo the changes, and you see the changes are here. The changes are here. Now the correct command is this. Copy and then paste. Python, use PyInstaller, and the spec file is called hello world kv.spec --clean. So I usually use this just so it forces a clean of the build to make a good install. Very rarely it fixes bugs, but when it does fix a bug, it's like an unfixable bug. So I'm gonna press enter, and then it will rebuild the app. Okay, and very quickly it will say the output directory, blah blah blah, and all its contents will be removed. Yes, you will say yes. Why? Because if you look at it, it's dist hello world kv. So if you go here, it's 2024 626 distribution hello world kv. Right? It's this. It is not the other hello world that's a one file exe. So you just say yes, just so it rebuilds correctly. Then it's rebuilt, right? And then if you double click on the file right here, let's see it. It's running, and it should load the Kivy file, right? Okay, and very quickly, I just want to elaborate on one more example that I forgot, but I remember during editing. It's going to be adding a Kivy file to a onefile exe. So I will go a little bit quick, but basically we already have our onefile. It's going to be something that looks like this, but it will have a Kivy file attached to it. So it will look like this, and I'll name it Hello World onefile with Kivy, something like that. So again, choose between one file or one directory. So Python m PyInstaller onefile, and then the name I will go like this, and then I will do Kivy. So it's going to be Kivy. This one will be Hello World onefile Kivy, like this, right? Hello World main Py. Okay, enter, and then it will build and package. But the problem with this is, again, it will just package just the Python file. It will not add the Kivy file, so we'll have to modify the SPEC file to include the Kivy file. And then after that, we will use this command right here, the 5b, to specifically use the SPEC file. And then I will see you in a bit because this will take a while. Okay, now we have the SPEC file right here. Hello World onefile Kivy. Now we're going to fix it and add the requirements, which is going to be SDL2 and glue. So copy and paste. Then here, because we're in onefile, we go here, copy, after a datas, go right here, and then replace this line, paste. And then again, there's an example spec file for you to see. And then now you add your Kivy file resources and hooks. So because we're here, if you do dir, you will see the, okay, let's close this directory. You will see that the Hello World Kivy is here, so you don't have to do anything strange. You can just copy it. And then go to datas and copy this here, and then Hello World Kivy like this. Like this. You need the quotes, the double quotes, because it's a string. The location and packaged app, it's going to be the top level. And then after that, we should be good to go. Now we'll build a working Kivy app using PyInstaller. And in this case, it will be a Kivy app that's a onefile, and it also has a Kivy file attached to it. So we'll copy this and then run the command. And then it's not Hello World spec, it's Hello World onefile Kivy spec. So Python, run a Python command, -m for the module. The module is named PyInstaller, and then the arguments are Hello World onefile Kivy, the spec file, and --clean. And enter. Then it will build for another 10 minutes, and I'll see you very quickly. Okay, and I'm back, and it built the exe successfully. So let's go here. Let's go to the distribution folder. Now you see it's a onefile, and it's Hello World onefile kv.exe, and it's slightly bigger, around 2 more megabytes. Let's see if it runs properly. Okay, correct. Now here's my proof. How do I know that it's actually running the kv file? Well, if you go simply to temp, you'll see that this is the temporary folder that PyInstaller uses. It's not the same one. It's called the maypass folder, and it has random digits at the end. Oh, shoot. Okay. So I double click on this. Now let's go look for the kv file, which I have named as hello world kv.kv. So right here. Now it's here. So you know that I'm using this kv file, why it's added. And then simply, if I close it, the temp file will go away. Okay, and then that's just a very quick example of how to use a working Kivy app that's a onefile that has a Kivy file. All you need to do is add the Kivy file in the datas and make sure it's a top level, because the top level is available to your Kivy app. If you put it in other places, you gotta have your Kivy app, specifically look for it. There's two things I'll show you. So if you go hello world Kv internal, and then here's the Kv folder. So apparently PyInstaller has updated their layout. Before, this internal folder would be exposed along with the rest into this, before it'd be like this, where the executable would be packaged along with all the other DLLs and files in the same folder, but now they've changed it so that it would be here in the top level, and everything else would be put in internal, which actually I agree with. I was wondering why it didn't look like this. But in any case, you go hello world Kv internal, and then first hello world Kv will be here, right? It's the top level of your internal folder now. And then also, if you see right here, I did say, also, if you check the Kivy examples folder, you will see that I said, okay, send hello world Kv to the Kv folder. And the Kv folder will exist, it's right here. And what do you know? Hello world Kv is in this folder. So what have we done? We've created a onefile using the onefile instructions, and we have a onefile, a hello world, and that is here, which will run. We've also created a one directory that you can show to your friends, which is this folder right here. All you do is copy paste and it will work. And we have also fixed the Kv file so that it can add any kind of folder, any kind of resources using the datas line. And then here's bug fixing, right? There's some notes about PyInstaller. Console equals true, we can turn console on and off. And then PyInstaller onefile also extracts to a maypass folder. So actually, if you go run this right now, you can find the maypass folder. So usually it's in temp. So I think it's like %temps %, like this. You can see the May folder, and again it's the same. All your environment is here, everything required. And actually, when I kill this executable, this temporary folder will disappear. So I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna kill it. Then it's gone. That's another note. And then sometimes they're not always deleted. And then again, for if you're running it in a virtual environment like I am, you need to turn on 3D acceleration. Alright, so this has been Kivy School. Thank you for watching. And I hope you have an easier time packaging your Kivy apps. Specifically look for it. Okay, also, if you check the Kivy examples folder, you will see that I said, okay, send hello world Kv to the Kv folder. And the Kv folder will exist, it's right here. And what do you know? Hello world Kv is in this folder. So what have we done? We've created a onefile using the onefile instructions, and we have a onefile, a hello world, and that is here, which will run. We've also created a one directory that you can show to your friends, which is this folder right here. All you do is copy paste and it will work. And we have also fixed the Kv file so that it can add any kind of folder, any kind of resources using the datas line. And then here's bug fixing, right? There's some notes about PyInstaller. Console equals true. We can turn console on and off. And then PyInstaller onefile also extracts to a maypass folder. So actually, if you go run this right now, you can find the maypass folder. So usually it's in temp. So I think it's like percent temps percent, like this. You can see the May folder, and again it's the same. All your environment is here, everything required. And actually, when I kill this executable, this temporary folder will disappear. So I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna kill it. Then it's gone. That's another note. And then sometimes they're not always deleted. And then again, for if you're running it in a virtual environment like I am, you need to turn on 3D acceleration. Alright, so this has been Kivy School. Thank you for watching. And I hope you have an easier time packaging your Kivy apps.